Hey y'all, it's Janet, and I saw this article at Forbes and I wanted to talk about it. This article says Trump's tariffs causing chaos in auto industry, says Ford CEO. Ford CEO Jim Farley says Trump's tariff policy is causing chaos. Speaking at the Wolf Research Conference recently, Ford CEO Jim Farley called President Trump's proposal to impose 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico and 10% tariffs on China and others a disaster for American companies doing business around the world. Farley warned Tuesday that the car maker is experiencing a lot of cost and a lot of chaos as a result of the Trump administration's tariff threats and hostility towards electric vehicles. And he's complaining here also, I should mention, that Trump has rolled back tax credits that favored electric vehicles, and some of the car manufacturers are not happy about that. And he also says that the proposal to impose a tariff on Mexico and Canada would be disastrous for U.S. companies, and it would unfairly benefit European and Asian automakers. I'm not going to read the whole article. I will put a link to it in the YouTube and Rumble descriptions. But I do think this is interesting. Ford, has spent the last several decades moving all of its plants and industry out of the U.S. and moving them, to other places. And I think, from what I understand, mostly to Mexico. So had they not done that, had they kept their industry and employment here in the U.S., they wouldn't be facing this problem right now. So I couldn't find good employment numbers for Ford for this year. Apparently in 2023 they stopped public reporting, so it's hard to say exactly how many people are employed by Ford, but estimates are somewhere around 177,000. In the U.S., estimate that Ford employs around 90,000, so almost half of their workforce is U.S. based. In 1980, it's estimated that Ford employed somewhere around 425,000 employees, and 225,000 of those were in the U.S. alone. Over half were in the U.S., and mostly the other places. In Canada, they had 20,000. Mexico had 7,000. That breakdown for 1980 is kind of an approximation. I had to ask Grok for these numbers, and I understand why they wouldn't want to come clean about where they're shuffling their industry around. Grok made some, educated guesses. One of the things I noticed in the Ford employment trend is that starting in the 90s, they began to restructure and globalize. They moved a bunch of plants and industry around the world out of the U.S. In 1980, they had somewhere around 200,000, and now they only have around 90,000 U.S. employees. Well, that's less than 50%, and for an American company, American-based company, one that has such a strong history and so much a part of the culture of the United States. We really do have a car culture. Some people, they like the Fords, some people like the Chevys. There's that whole argument. It really is an enormous part of our heritage as Americans, and it's a shame, really, that they don't employ more of us. Anyway, Ford, they got themselves into this trouble. Had they kept their manufacturing in the U.S., or at least a bigger chunk of it, they wouldn't be facing the tariffs now, would they? Well, that is it for me. I just wanted to talk about Ford. I do love the F-150s. I think they're gorgeous. Mustangs used to be nice looking. I don't like the current one. Have you seen the current one? It doesn't even look like a Mustang. It's awful. There's this picture. There's a picture of it, and I don't know if this is a car that's for sale or not, but it has a weird paint job. It looks like some kind of a wrap they put on the prototype car, so you can't really take a picture of it. It's awful. I don't like it. They have so many missteps, and the quality's not what it should be. Let's face it. Found on the road dead is a thing for a reason, y'all. And I'm not even a Chevy girl. I drive a stinking rusty Kia. I wish that the American car companies would actually manufacture cars in America. That's all there is to it. Well, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you for sticking around, listening to me ramble about the trucks and the cars and U.S. employment. I appreciate you. Bye.
Street.